Listen.
Hello family members and welcome back to my channel.
Okay, we're gonna go through some finances advice that are available in this popular platform called TikTok because I think everybody is using TikTok nowadays, right? So let's get to it. What inspired me to do this video was the fact that I have been watching a lot of YouTube video regarding finance advices and bad financial habits, and also some suggestions of the kind of books you should read if you want to understand how money works, and then also some advice. I want to get deeper and comment on some of the advices that are given, because coming from a place that money is not really accessible. It's not that I believe that it's hard to get money or something, but it's not always accessible because of a lack of jobs, for example, or lack of demands. Like if you want to make a business, it's just like, yeah, we want to fulfill a demand, but which crowd do we approach? And it kind of create a tension within like ourselves, within like oneself, to think like, I cannot build a business, so this means like I cannot be rich, because most of the advice is like, oh, you have to build a business and things like that. So I want to get into it and watch some videos regarding financial advices and how to make money and things like that. And we're just gonna comment. It's just gonna be something very laid back. And just for a disclaimer, I am not a finance guru or something. I'm just a person who's very passionate about saving money and managing finances, understanding how money works, understanding how the finance world it really is, because what's taught in school is very different from what we are told in real life. And I feel like when we listen to people who have experiences in like this side of the world, then we can not just know the theory, but then we can also see like how people practice it in real life and maybe try to emulate what they're doing. Whether it works or not, it really depends if you're lucky, right? But yeah, let's get into it. Let's listen.
Especially if I was a girl, I would do everything in my power for the next year, not even. If you're smart, a couple months. Learn everything that you can about finance. Pick a niche, stocks, crypto, forex, whatever, and start posting content on that kind of stuff. Because in our industries, they are 99% male, right? So you are a smart girl, preferably hot, and you are dropping knowledge, your views are gonna skyrocket. And to monetize with like anything to do with money, anything finance, the monetization is so much stronger there.
Okay, I feel like we are off to a good start. This video really so this guy, what he's saying is basically like, if you are hot and then you learn about finances and try to talk about it in the internet, then definitely you are gonna succeed. There is some truth to that, because I really think that when you are a pretty person, it is easier for you to attract a crowd, especially in the internet, because people normally click on things that they find attractive. And I know that sounds superficial, but that's just the reality. I would also like to say that regardless of how you look, when you really know how to deliver about a topic like teaching about money, for example, I think you always have a chance to succeed. Because when people go online and then they want to learn something with like real intentions, how you look will never matter, like, but how you deliver those messages, that's how you will have some loyal viewers in your channel, like that. Okay. But yeah, that's just like one thing. But I don't think that's the, what's the word for it? I don't think that's the like pillar to succeed in like this field. But when you know that you want to deliver a topic about finance, for example, and you learn so much about crypto, and let's say like you want to talk about crypto, right? And then you're really good at it and people genuinely want to learn, regardless of how you look, I think people are still gonna want to learn from you and people are still gonna watch your videos. But of course, if you are like physically attractive, of course, it's like a bonus because pretty privilege is real, right? And that's just the reality. But I don't think that's the most important thing. But yeah, I just like it the part that he says preferably hot, because he doesn't put it like as a primary thing when you want to deliver something or like teach something on the internet. So that's a good thing, I guess.
Asset, liability. And the last two words are the words cash flow. And that's why the game is called cash flow. And the secret to being rich is not a college education, but can you control cash flow? 95% of
Okay, so this video is quite interesting because I know that Robert Kiyosaki, I think is his name. And I read his book, The Rich Dad Poor Dad. There are some parts that I understood and I was like, oh yeah, he actually is telling like a very good advice. But then there are also things that he teaches in that book that I feel like this is kind of it can be very damaging to people, especially those who doesn't know how to properly manage finances, but they really want to succeed in like, you know, to be like a millionaire, let's say, or to save 100,000 or to build a business from scratch. So basically from this video, I think when he mentions like income, expenses, assets, liabilities, what we have to think about it, it's like when you have income, if you want to become rich, you have to spend below your means, like save money and always pay yourself first. Like one of his advice actually is I think like in his book, one of his advice is to pay yourself first. And it's like when you get your salary, like put some percentage of your money to put in your savings account or like high yield savings account or into investments. And I think that is a really good advice. And managing your expenses, making sure that you don't spend above your means, and don't buy unnecessary things, like for real, because I know that overconsumption is very rampant in today's age, and people always complain that they don't have enough money to buy things. But when we look around, we have more than enough things. This kind of thing. And when he says assets and when he says asset and liabilities, asset is basically just like things that you own that appreciates over time, the value. And liabilities is something that you owe someone, and it's like that can be one of it. But I know that this guy, this rich dad, Robert Kiyosaki, I think is his name, he's quite controversial when it comes to debt. But yeah, so when you're thinking about like making money or like being a person with high net worth, you have to think that you need to have assets that are more than your liabilities, sorry. Yeah, I'm just gonna do like maybe a couple more videos because I don't want this to be a long one, since it's my first time trying to make this kind of trying to talk about this kind of thing. And okay, I love her, Vivian. She makes very good videos about finances. It's just sometimes she's very, like, I think she's an expert. And when I mean like an expert as in like I know that she knows what she's talking about, so that's why I really like her videos and whenever she talks about finances. So yeah.
And your rich BFF. I'm a former Wall Street trader, a New York Times bestselling author, and I teach you about all the money, business, and finance lessons you didn't get in school. One of the best examples of moving in silence is Sarah Blakely. She's the founder of a billion-dollar business called Spanx. You probably heard of it. And when she first started the company, she hid it from her friends and family for a full calendar year. She said that she was worried that out of love, her friends and family would try and convince her out of starting her company because they were afraid of her taking this big risk. And when I heard that, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. Because a lot of us have haters at home. And frankly, they're not even trying to be haters out of a place of malice. Maybe they are. But more so, they are doing it out of fear and concern because they could not accomplish that goal, so they don't think you can either. And that piece of wisdom is why I did not tell my parents about my business, Your Rich BFF, for the first 9 months, because I did not want my opinion of my company to be impacted by what other people thought, namely my Chinese immigrant parents. Because sometimes you gotta get to a point where no one can stop you before you even tell people that you're going. It's kind of like chess. You build your strategy in silence, you move your pieces in silence, and the only time you talk is to say, checkmate.
Okay, listen, I really like her advice. I think that what she's saying is really true, especially if you are someone who is like starting something, because when you want to tell your close friends, let's say, or family that you want to create a business and then they don't understand what it is, they will think like they will give unsolicited opinions just because they don't understand what you are doing. And of course, if they have never succeed in it, and then they're not really exposed to people who have succeed in let's say opening a business, they only will have pessimism about the things that you're trying to achieve. And those unsolicited advices normally comes from some family members. They're just nasty and they will like not support you and say all these bad things about you because they don't want you to reach the top, and they just generally are like not nice and hard. But there are people out there who just because they don't understand how things work, so when you're trying to approach creating a business, just because they don't understand it, they're gonna be like, you are delusional, what are you trying to do, are you sure this is gonna work, no, you're gonna lose, like don't do it, like are you sure, I mean, like things like this. And the interesting thing about what she said is some people do it out of love, yeah, just because they don't understand something, so they don't want you to get into something that is risky or may potentially hurt you in the future. That's why when you move in silence, it's more that you have less noise in your head, and that you can think clearly about what you want to achieve. And it's like when you are trying to build something for yourself, only your opinions value, because it's something that only you understand, only you yourself understand the vision and the mission of the things that you want to achieve. So when you tell people about what you're trying to do, it can be that they just don't believe that it's gonna work, so they're just gonna like create noise in your head, and you're not gonna be able to think clearly. And sometimes when you tell people about what you're gonna do, although they love you, they're just gonna say things that hurt, and it's gonna like it's gonna bring your spirit down. Your persistence can become pessimism, and it's gonna be hard for you to be optimistic because you think like nobody around me believes me. But when you do it in silence, it can be that you can think clearly, and then you can pursue anything without thinking the risk of what other people are going to say about it. But the risk that you're going to face is going to be it's going to be like you're alone is going to be the one who's going to be responsible for it. So yeah, I love what she said actually, because I have been doing things that I didn't tell anyone about until like I have done it, and it's more satisfying for me because I have done it previously telling people, and all that it brought me was stress. But when I did it without telling anyone and telling them when I already achieved it, I feel like I get a sense of satisfaction and relief that I have already achieved it, and now they know at least. So Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I wish I got the message across. Okay, let's go for the final video because I think I have been speaking way too long.
To you, you're not gonna get better with your finances unless you put in the work. Yes, I'm talking to you, and you probably don't even know how much you spent because you don't track your spending, and your money problems aren't gonna go away just because you're ignoring them. But we all make mistakes, and that's okay. That is why 2025 is the year of intention with your finances. This is how you're gonna do a 2025 reset for your finances. The first thing you're gonna do is do a financial audit. That means understanding how much income you have, what are your approximate monthly expenses, and your overall cash flow. You need to know how much you have, how much you are working with in order for you to make any meaningful progress on your financial goals. Your money is your responsibility. The second thing I want you to do is track all of your spending. I've been doing this for years and it's been honestly life-changing because you don't realize how much money that you are spending on a daily, weekly basis when it adds up. I've been able to hit some really big financial goals just by tracking my expenses and how I'm actually using the money that's coming in. It doesn't matter if you use the spending tracker that I have or a different app or website, but track your spending. It just helps you be so much more intentional with how you're using your money. The third step is to set SMART goals for the next year. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And having specific goals or a plan in place actually helps you take actions towards what you want to achieve. Let's say one of your goals for the new year is saving for a 3-month emergency fund, and let's pretend that your baseline expenses are $2,000 per month. And if you wanted to save $6,000 for a 3-month emergency fund, you can break this down by saving $1,000 per month for 6 months until you hit the goal in middle of 2025.
Actually, like I was thinking that I agree with whatever she's saying. Like doing financial audit is very important. So basically, you need to know what you need to be spending on for the next month, and then how your money is gonna come. What are the resources? Like how much are you gonna invest? And then after that, you need to track your spendings. You need to know like where did you spend it from, and then from there you can see whether you are spending on unnecessary stuffs and maybe cut on those things if you actually really want to save a lot of money. And for her to mention the SMART method on saving money, I think that is amazing because a lot of the people always set immeasurable, unachievable goals when it comes to, savings or earnings, and they get demotivated when they don't achieve that by the time frame that they want to achieve it. That is why it's important for you to understand that this is the amount that you have and this is the amount that you can afford to save. And of course, if you want to save, let's say, $10,000 a month, and sorry, like, of course, if you want to save $10,000 a year with your salary, that's only $15,000 a year. It means you only have $5,000 a year to spend on yourself. That's like, I don't think that's realistic, right? Because you still need to pay for your rent, for your bills, and you still need to eat and everything. That's why when you're using this SMART method, it might help you to, set some more realistic goal for yourself so that you don't beat yourself up when you don't achieve the goals that you always wanted. But you kind of like, what's the word for that? So that you can replace those unrealistic goals more towards a realistic one depending on your situation, okay? I guess, yeah. All right, so I think that's all I want to talk about today for today's video, and I hope the videos that I shared and the things that I have said are in some ways beneficial for you. And please let me know if you like this kind of video and the things that I can improve. I will really love some feedback as well. And I'm taking this opportunity to practice more and more about how I convey a message. And I am hoping that over time I can become better in it, and it's only growth from here. So practice makes perfect, right? I really believe in that. I genuinely believe that the more I do this, the more I'll be able to speak more eloquently and deliver my message more properly, and also improve my public speaking. And I think that that's also, not I think, like that's actually one reason why I have decided to create my YouTube channel, because I really want to be more confident when trying to speak to the crowd. And I guess by practicing to speak to the camera, it's gonna help me in some ways. So yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment in my and comment, okay? So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment so that the algorithm can favor me as well. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a nice day. Okay, what else is it that I want to say? Oh yeah, please help me make a living. Ciao.